What's up, guys? Happy to have you on the Job Talks podcast, the podcast that helps you find your way. I'm your host, Romain, and today I'm joined with Linda and Nick, who are both recruiters at Job Squad. We are going to talk about everything that is working remote. So, what is it, how people adapted their way of working in 2020, benefits, advantages, or drawbacks, basically anything that is working remotely. We've got a lot to talk about. We've got a lot of tips as well because all the people that are working at Job Squad are working remotely. So there is a lot of things that we learned, a lot of things that didn't go as planned. So we're going to talk about all of that today. I hope you guys enjoy. If you do, please leave us a review or a comment. We'd love to hear from you guys. Have a great time and enjoy.
You managed to get the cut action.
No, I don't have it. Yeah, I need to buy one, but yeah, definitely I'm gonna have like the cinema thing. It's just like, all right. Thanks guys for joining in. So today we're gonna talk about how we are working remotely and how your candidates also started sometimes to work remotely. And as we say, and we know, it's not easy at first, but there is a lot of tips to know on how to work efficiently remotely. There is a lot of things to know. There is a lot of interesting facts. I've got a lot of facts that I pulled up from different articles, so I'm going to share them with you. But I just want to start a little bit to know with you all guys, for how long did you work remotely in your life? When did you start to work a bit remotely, and how did it turn out? Did it went great, or it was like chaos at first? I don't know. How did you start recording? Like, we're going to start with Linda.
Thank you. I did already work remotely, like, 15 years ago. I was in some youth organizations and got a job out of that, but all main based different places in Denmark, and actually eventually from Brussels. And my teammates were all over Europe, so we just had deadlines on things. We had one meeting every week, and that was very fluent. I mean, having one deadline a week, I could do that task whenever I wanted. So it was not really a job, but it was stuff that I had to deliver on every week. Having that freedom in the beginning was really, really hard. I always ended up doing it right up to the deadline because I just couldn't distribute all that time I had on my hands, and ended up doing everything else. So slowly I got into a routine, doing a little bit every day, and then managing not to do everything in the last moment. I think the routine part is probably the hardest, because nobody but you are if you don't deliver, okay, it's on you, but and obviously your colleagues as well, if they count on you, but in the end of the day, they could just fight. Like, it's your job to finish it. And I think that's sometimes hard.
Definitely.
I don't know how to describe that.
How about you, Nick?
Yeah, I definitely see the same. I mean, I started doing remotely basically as soon as I started with Job Squad. I never worked remotely, but I see a lot of comparisons, I would say, with like training. I would say it's like, for example, if you go to the gym and you get demotivated and you get tired of doing the same thing, at the gym you have to always, for example, change up the routine of how to do the gym, so to keep excited, to keep yourself excited, to want to do it, instead of have to do it, or when you have a job at work you have to do it. So I always find like different spots, different locations, even in the house, not always the same place, maybe, like usually I say I don't feel like doing it now, and sometimes I just change the spot or change my frame of mind or then I get excited about it. I think it's all about trying to find how to get excited doing your job when it comes to remote job, because as Linda said, there's nobody pushing you per se. You have to be yourself, and I believe being yourself is being always enjoying your moments as much as possible. And then I think you just become good at it eventually. And you start enjoying it. Once you start enjoying it, then it just comes naturally, I guess. but there's definitely a big process, a long process. I wouldn't say it's for everyone immediately, but everyone can learn it and can eventually become comfortable, you know. But I would say that some people can do it in 1, 2, 3 months. Some people can take a year for them to really fit in, I would say, and feel comfortable doing a remote position, you know. Yeah, it's my experience pretty much.
Yeah, you're right. That's exactly that. I mean, as you said, like maybe like not everybody can do it at first, but they all all learn it and how to like do it properly. I've got some interesting facts because, of course, 2020 was like kind of a weird year, and it was also really big year for remote. So we started the year like a usual global European statistic was that 9% of people were working usually in remote and 14% sometimes in remote. So that still surprised me a bit because I expected it to be a little lower, like if we take all the jobs that are available on the job market, but still not a really high number, of course. But of course, with 2020 and all the close down and everything in all over the world, we ended up going from 9% to 69% in 2020.
Wow, what
Yeah.
a jump.
Yeah. So, yeah, as you said, like,
69% of the job, like that 60%, let's say that from 9% to 69%, 60% of those jobs are what did they call it in the European Parliament? Non-essential, because all the non-essential jobs had to work from home. So
yeah.
60 are
Insane.
jobs non-essential.
No, yeah, that's just that just like made me insane kind of was like what how could be like that much going on. So yeah, that was definitely a big hit, and it proved a lot to companies because in the same article, that's an article from Forbes, in the same article they said that 86.4% of companies will change their remote policies. You know, they saw how working remotely affected their company in many different ways, bad or good, I don't know. But they saw that it changed everything in their company. So 86% of them are actually willing to change their remote policies because of that. And for the top remote companies, they are located in Sweden, Iceland, and the Netherlands. And at the bottom, we can see Italy as well, but they kind of made the difference and made the gap during the last part of the year because they were closed down a little bit longer and a bit more than other countries. And at the last statistic I recorded on that article, it was like a total of 72% of HR professionals, HR representatives in companies, believe that flexible working, which includes everything that is remote working, will be a key factor in the sector and recruitment in 2021. That makes a lot of sense. I mean, like we've all seen it, and we know that working remotely is getting a big part of every company now and day. As a part of that, I wanted to know a little bit how you guys are working, scheduling a bit your day, because like we've got, as you said, Linda, at first, and you said it as well, we've got a lot of free time because we organize it as kind of we want. So how do you guys like stay organized in that? How do you plan? You say, okay, I'm going to wake up super early, or you say like, I've got time to do it. I'm just going to do it later. I'm just taking my time to be as chill and calm as possible to do my work the most efficiently I can. How do you guys cope with that?
Honestly, like I would love to say that I get up in the morning, then I do some home gym, and then I start working, and I shower every morning and put on my clothes. In reality, that's not the case.
Of course.
When my boyfriend, when he got up to work, he gets up at 6:45. I wake up at the same time. I hear his alarm. But instead of getting up, I'm reaching over, I'm taking my laptop, I'm putting it on, and then I'm opening it. And it seems super lazy, but from 6:45 until 9 o'clock, where I normally would have to be at the office, I have 2 hours. So those 2 hours, I'm chilling in bed. Maybe I'm going out having a cup of coffee, but I am answering all my emails, like looking over what should I do today, who should I call today, do. So I have 2 hours of super relaxed work. It feels like those power days where you manage to go to the office super early and you're the only one there and you just get all the job hammered away. I feel like that almost every morning now because I can just lie, chill, relax, and I get shit done.
Mhm.
So I would love to say that I am this super organized person, but then I take like a 15 minutes break. I go out, brush my teeth, I put on some decent clothes, and then I go in and I sit at my desk. Then I take half an hour lunch, but then I take more frequent small breaks of doing different things. I even have my headset on. I can do some calls while I am sweeping. I can do some calls while I'm doing the dishes or emptying the dishwasher. Just because then I'm up and with my body, I'm doing something. If I have to sit static still a whole day, I can't do that. But because I'm at home and nobody really knows what I'm doing with my headset on, I can do these things. So I stand up. Sometimes I do like kind of like lunches when I'm talking to people. Like it seems silly, but it keeps me going. And as
Mhm.
Nick mentioned, not sitting exactly at the same position with the same chair, the same view every day. When there was no COVID and I was working from home, I would sometimes plan tomorrow I will take my computer, supercharge my phone, and go down to a cafe and sit and work.
Mhm.
But
Yeah, because
if you're sitting at home, it's easy to start doing the laundry, or it's easy to maybe watch something fun on Facebook. But if you're sitting in a cafe and people could potentially be watching what you're doing, you want to seem professional. So sometimes when I have that hard time getting that kick and doing my stuff, I need other people to potentially watch me. I'm aware I'm not interesting. Nobody's sitting actually watching what I'm doing, but like the possibility of them noticing that I'm watching a kitty cat dog video on my screen instead of actually filling out my Excel sheet makes me, I'm going to fill out my Excel sheet. You know what I mean?
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that's my days. They're a bit different, but same.
On that note, a morning I see it's true when I just grab the laptop straight out of bed, it's true I end up doing a really productive day those days. And just grab it, just start. Just getting ready. Okay, when am I gonna start? And sometimes it's just easier, just getting along. Just go. It's kind of like when you're going to work, you get up, you get dressed, you go to work. When you're at work, you're starting. Keep the same mindset, I think, as well. Sometimes you just get up, grab the laptop, see what's going on, how did the ads do, how did the who the recruiters, and you just get those things ready. Once you feel like at least for me, obviously, once you feel like you put in what was pending done, then I get up, have my coffee, and do a drink and everything, and see what's drink, not alcoholic drink.
Unless it's Saturday or Sunday.
Yeah, exactly.
No, but you guys are right. Like at the end of the day, like you schedule your day the way you feel it's more efficient for you. I mean, you do it like you think you're going to be more productive and you're going to work and you feel great because of course you have the advantage of like not being too early if you don't like the mornings, or not staying too late if you can't really stay straight thinking on the afternoon or anything. So yeah, at the end of the day, it's just really how you perceive your work and how you can do that. What do you think like the advantages, like pros and cons of remote working out? How do you see that the biggest the advantage is for you and the biggest disadvantage is for?
Basically, I would say as a disadvantage that I see mainly the biggest issue is that once I'm done from my work, I'm here. Where am I going? You're home again. It's like so. Unless and then my girlfriend, for example, comes back from work from outside and she's like tired and she's ready to lie down. I'm ready to get out of here. Let's go out. Let's have a coffee. Let's go. Let's go eat or something. But that's maybe the biggest disadvantage, really, because unless you go out and how Linda said, and go work from outside and come back in, you're literally always here, and then you end up still here at the end of the day, and your week can end up being inside if you don't actually make the effort to go out yourself. So that's a pretty big disadvantage, but at the same time, it's an advantage because you don't get to go to work. You work here. So there's this love-hate relationship with the concept. Yeah.
Sure.
I'm agreeing a lot on that, Nick. Like I was out today. I went across the street because apparently that's where my insurance company is, and I had to pay my insurance for this year.
Yeah.
But I was like, oh, I'm going to go out and find it. And I looked on my Google map and it's lit. I can see it from my balcony. I didn't realize that. So I was actually ready to go out for a quick walk, go pay my insurance, get a bit of fresh air. And then it was just like 2 minutes across the street. And then I was like, okay, I just go up and keep working, you know?
Yeah.
And so that is true. I see it as Nick, like it's an advantage, it's disadvantage. My big advantage with this is I'm now living in France. I lived in Malta, I have 5 years. My family is in Denmark, or my dad is in Denmark. My brother is in Norway, and my other really close friends or family are spread all over Europe. So by working at home or by working remote, it kind of allows me to, if I go on a holiday, which for me often doesn't end up being a holiday because I'm visiting people, but the tickets are cheaper if I go during the week. So people will go to work and I can sit and work from home as if I'm not missing any hours, I'm keeping up. But then I have all the evenings, those extra evenings that if you could only visit people in the weekend, you wouldn't have those. So the actually be able to take it with you, choose where I can live. It's not all remote positions that offers that. Some you have to be within a specific country to still do it. But our job right now allows us to, as long as I'm self-employed and I'm registered correctly in the different countries, I can go wherever I want to be.
Yeah, that's very true. That's the main liberty. I mean, you can work from anywhere. It's just a matter of having like some pretty good, I mean, at least decent internet connection to be able to connect to your work, and then afterwards you're pretty much good to go. How do you guys think about how the company should interact with you? Like, do you think the company you're working with should structure your work, like giving a lot of guidelines on what to do, how to do it, when, and give a lot of deadlines to be a bit more, as you said, like exciting and keep you more up to date with everything? Or should they like let you totally freely on the work you have to do, like just on your own and do it like yourself?
I think giving you they give you examples maybe or suggestions. I would say, listen, this is a suggestion. This is what worked for her. This is what works for us. This is what, giving you ideas and concepts for you to be able to succeed with the company. At the end of the day, and for them, because it's for everyone over here. At the end of the day, So. So yeah, I think giving suggestions mainly, but then reinforcing, because there's some companies out there that would say, okay, you have to be here, you have to punch in the clock, we have to see you on screen. When it comes to that, then it becomes probably worse than actually working in an office. So when you have to have that leeway and a bit of freedom for a person to be more creative in the way he wants to work. And I believe that it becomes more productive at the end of the day. Like that.
Yeah, I think it's a really, really fine balance. I think, 60 years ago, 70 years ago, maybe, you came into the factory and you had to plunk in. And then when you went home, you had to plunk out. I think it's probably some places not even like 20 years ago that you had to do that. Some companies kind of still do it. And it's a very old school way of measuring your people on their delivery. But some companies are not creative enough to see that you can actually what do you call, like you can actually measure your people in other ways than time. Because again, it depends on the job. But our job as recruiters, or often maybe as salespeople, you do more sales, you do more recruitments if you work more hours. Sometimes.
Yeah.
Some weeks I'm more productive if I work 5 hours a day, but work all days a week, than I am if I have to work 8 to 10 hours every day. So it depends on the job. But I think what we're going to see is that because you are at home, and a lot of companies are used to this plunking in, plunking out time frame, and you have to deliver a service like customer service agents. They have to be there available for the customers. It might not mean that there's a lot of work to do, but they have to be available. So I think a lot of jobs now that these people are working from home, I think you will see that this plunking in, plunking out time thing is going to come into place again. agree with Nick. In many ways, it shouldn't be strict, and they shouldn't tell you exactly what to do and how to do. Obviously, just some feels it needs to be done because you need to make sure that there are people to cover the shifts. But I think what is even more important than controlling the everyday life of your person is to give them motivation and to give them training. If you have the right training and you manage to actually motivate them, I know some companies, they're sending out vouchers for Friday pizza. So Friday afternoon, instead of having a Friday beers, well, then they know that their employees get a little pizza and they Skype in and check up on them. There are different ways of doing that nowadays. But I think the plunking in, plunking out time frame, controlling your people, micromanaging is not the way of doing it. This has to go with a lot of trust. And I think we're also going to see a change in leadership over the next couple of years, because some leaders only know how to lead people that are right in front of them. They don't know how to manage people who are sitting in different teams. And it is challenging. It is.
Yeah, as you said, like you just said the right word, because still putting statistics today, but I found a survey that's from All Labs, and basically they said that 82% of people that were working remotely actually liked that way of working because they felt like the company trusted them. Like they felt like the company was giving them trust in their work because they were not always checking. And as you said, like there might be some hours and some checking in, checking out things, but most importantly, they were focused, like driven on some results more than just hours to do. Like it was more about how do you achieve that things more than how many hours can you spend doing that task, that specific task. And as you said, I think like it's going to change a lot of managers and a lot of people's minds to actually manage people more efficiently.
I worked in offices a couple of times and on project based, but I never understood the whole thing. You're working from 9 to 5, but we have to finish a project by Friday. And I was like, why on earth are we not just working our asses? I know people have families and have to, but I was like, how can we just go home with peace in our mind? It's 5 o'clock and we need to leave. I'm like, but we need to finish this. So I was always staying longer and later just to finish. But then the weeks after, I would come in an hour later or something because it was not as busy, you know? So, and by working from home, at least it allowed me to like be okay. This week I'm super busy. Next week, not so much.
Mm-hmm.
I could deliver when it was time to deliver and then relax when, it was given space for that.
Yeah, totally agree. On a little bit more tips on how you guys manage. I don't know. Well, you talked about your bed where you're working from, or even a kind of small space somewhere. Do you guys like try to create a work corner, like a kind of a small office or a table or somewhere specific, like in your apartment or somewhere like you want to work, like a desk precisely that feels like, as you said, like you're not traveling to work, but you might actually travel to your desk or office area or something?
No.
I have, like, I'm setting it up now because I only been in my apartment very few weeks, and I still need to have my desk here, but I'm setting up a workstation. I have my 2 big laptops and my, my things, so I know where everything is. I know that my computer charges here and this works. But I always had that some places in my house, but it doesn't mean that I'm sitting there every day. Like I know where it is, and I know when I have to be super efficient, my screens are there and my computer is there, and but it doesn't necessarily mean that's where I sit every day.
Mm-hmm. I'd say the same for me. Yeah, pretty much the same concept. I have a place, but not specifically hang out really on that place every time, really. So yeah, I'm around from the couch to the kitchen is where I am. In fact, at the moment, you can see my pot, to the living area here. So it depends, Just moving around, I think, is healthy, and it's also mentally healthy, for productivity, I think, as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Planning your day. I'm old school.
The good old agenda.
Everything, it costs like what, €2. I mean, and I know I'm all up for not printing and killing trees and everything, but there's something about when I finally sit down by my desk, I can open this. And when I travel and work, I have my computer, I have my phone, and then I have a pen and I have this. So then I feel like I'm complete. Like I have my little office. It doesn't take up much space. I could have all of this in another calendar, but I have like Google calendars with my family. Then I have with work on who's on holiday when and where, and I sometimes have with friends. And then there's a Facebook calendar also with birthdays. And there's all this technical stuff that is not tangible is not working for me. I need this, like I had this always, and it's working.
Yeah. What you guys like would be if you had like only one advice to give like to people to how to work efficiently and to work like in a really good manners when you're working from home? What's like the only advice that you would follow or you wish you heard before starting to work remote?
I'd say stay excited, mainly. Follow, say, okay, if you're not excited here, change, think differently, or try and be creative with your job and making it more excited. I think excitement is the most important part of being successful and being productive in general.
Really true. That's really true.
That's very true. I think I'm going to build on that, saying be comfortable. And that may be divided in three parts. Be comfortable with yourself, because if you have to work remote, you many times have to work alone. So if you have to work alone, you have to be comfortable with yourself and in your own company, whether that is going up every morning and putting makeup on and putting some real clothes on and feel nice and yeah, or it's just sitting in your pajamas and actually feel comfortable because you sit on a soft pillow and you're sitting in your bed, or and have something like be healthy. Like it sounds like a cliche, but you need to be sharp in your mind. And in the office, you wouldn't sit and eat pizza and cookies and everything every day. There would probably be fruit at the office that you would eat, and then you have your lunch hours. So stick to your lunch hours. I don't really mush those around. Even though I stay in my bed working the first 2 hours, those 2 hours I would have been spending on commuting and showering and getting ready. So I just win hours in that end. But the lunch hours, the breakfast, the lunch, and my small breaks in between, keep those, because the first times I started, I got carried away. I would work far into the evening, forget dinner, forget breaks and everything, and your eyes get mushy.
Yeah, definitely. And quite kind of the last, really not last but not least of notes. How do you guys feel? Because that's one of the main like kind of drawbacks, but one of the most difficult part is to like to keep these social links like you've got with coworkers in general. Like we know a lot of people are making like friends or meeting with colleagues a lot during the work day and on the workspaces. As working remote, of course, you can't. How do you guys like think of ways to actually do it, or do you think like meetings still online, doing some calls between each other, or actually setting up different times to see each other in person? How do you think we can manage to still have this social link while we're working remotely?
It's definitely an issue that, especially with COVID at the moment, it's the biggest issue. But no, I would say it's pretty much after work, usually. I mean, sometimes when people are in Malta in our job, we meet up and we work together. But when that's not possible, and then, yeah, I would say after work and meeting up and organizing a meeting with your friends, maybe a coffee or something like that. But because, everybody's in your position, really. And it's not like before, oh, maybe he's busy or we know nobody has nothing to do at the moment. They're inside, it's after work and they want to hang out as well. So it's a bit easier to reach out, really, I would say. But you have to get down to do it, yeah. And it's the best way. Or else you just stay stuck inside, which is too much. No, I don't really do online though. I don't. I never really do online talks or meetings like this online. I don't really. It's a bit strange for me, not to hang out.
You have to think about me and Nick. We're old, so Just
We
call-
all got it.
I've been 3 weeks away from my boyfriend now, and I never been good at the Skype calls or like hangouts or whatever. I hate when people talk to me and they're like doing the dishes, and all I see is like, oh, there's your shoulder, there's the floor. I mean, you talk to me, you have your phone in front of me, and we have like almost an eye-to-eye conversation. Otherwise, I don't like it. Then you might as well just call me on a normal phone. So it's for me, this time has been really hard getting used to Skype and Zoom and taking online classes and training online and speaking to you guys only online. I will say, like Nick, you have the whole day at home. If you can go out just for a quick walk in the evening with a coffee and a friend, do that. But if not, try to make it fun. Like I just invited a bunch of girls for a drawing competition on Friday evening. Each one is by their screen, responsible for their wine and their snacks and their pen and their paper. And then we will show different pictures, and they have to try and draw them. And then we have to tell gossip. So you can do that. It's about getting the best out of the situation. It's at some point it will get better with the corona. And hopefully then by that time we all miss each other so much that it will be easy to get in contact with people, and people would like to see you.
Yeah.
Very true. That's very true. That's wise words. Well, that was pretty much it for me. Thanks, guys. That gave a lot of perspective on how you guys are working remotely and how people can actually take examples. Maybe not examples for everything, but actually they can work better from home. So yeah, thank you a lot. What?
Are you wearing real pants right now or sweatpants?
I am actually wearing jeans, so that's totally fine. Like I not gonna.
Me, no, I'm in my underwear.
I have
Well, that's the main
pants on
part.
today, so I was like, I have actually pants on.
As long as you've got like the upper body covered, like everything else is just that's just bonus.
This is bonus tip. No matter if you think you have a whole day just working from home, nowadays, this part and up, maybe not makeup and full makeup and everything, but this part and up, wear clothes, because people are just calling you randomly out of the blue. Nobody ever did that before Corona, but today I'm like, oh no, with video? Okay. So that's the pro tip. Always from here and up.
The filters are, so for the makeup, the girls, they could put it on as a filter immediately.
Yeah, you put a little cat filter or something that you just only see your eyes and everything else.
Yeah.
Okay, super nice, guys. Thanks a lot. Have a great evening.
You too. Bye.